20-month-old Quinton Simon was reported missing from his Savannah, Georgia home on October 5th. Police suspected that his body was placed in a dumpster, and investigators have been searching for his body in a nearby landfill for a month. Today, the 21st of November, his mother, Leilani Simon, has been arrested and charged with murder, as his remains have finally been found. Hey everybody, welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Kristi Brower. Hello.
Hello. Happy Tuesday.
Yeah, it is. Is our Tuesday edition. Edition, is that what we call these? Episode?
I don't know. We say something different every time, so whatever.
We can do whatever we want, so it's whatever. Yeah. Well, how's it going? What you been up to?
Good. What have I been up to? Very little, to be perfectly honest. Is it bad that I'm just spending a lot of time watching baking competition shows this week? I mean, it is Thanksgiving week in the US, and I just don't really care.
I think that's good.
Motivation level, not high. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, it's a vacation week. At least it kind of feels like it here in the US.
Right.
And also, true crime is so heavy right now.
Ugh.
That I think some happy distractions are absolutely called for.
Yes. Yeah. I would much rather yell at the TV criticizing people's bakes than,
This is rubbish, Carolyn! Right. Yeah. Poor Carolyn. I don't even know who that is.
Fondant is way too thick. Terrible.
Also, I don't know how to use fondant, but I can tell you.
Never used it. But I've watched enough of these shows to know that's too thick.
There you go. We watched a movie on Netflix today, this evening. The new, I can't remember what it's called. It's about dreams, something dreams.
Oh.
This makes a terrible story because now I can't remember who's in it either.
Sounds like it was really memorable.
Go find it on Netflix. It's great.
You probably can't because you don't know the name or who's in it, but hey, whatever.
Okay, we were watching it, me and the kids, but I was really mostly researching my case. So, what can I say? Yeah.
Yeah, because you have a house full.
I do. I have all my kids home for the whole week for Thanksgiving, and their dogs. So we are really quite the zoo. But it's good. We did Costco today and the fancy meat store, and I sat in the car while they did Albertsons because I couldn't do anymore. But I think we have everything we need to get us through the week. If we don't, we don't need it. That's what I know.
Absolutely.
Well, there's a whole lot going on in true crime today. Big breaking news events today, several of them. So, Kristi, I'm going to turn the mic over to you for a case update.
Yes. So we all know, or if you've been watching us lately, you know that there was a break in the Michael Vaughn case recently. A woman named Sarah Wondra has been arrested for failure to report a death, and apparently she has reported, along with other people, things to do with Michael Vaughn's death and the disposal of his body. Well, something rather interesting did occur today. Sarah was in court today, and the judge had ordered a competency evaluation for Sarah. And if you have watched any of our other episodes talking about her, you know why. When she first appeared in court, she said her first name was her husband's name, not hers. And she seems very confused and kind of word salady, And she was found not mentally fit to proceed. So she will be going into a state psychiatric hospital. Her hearings are currently vacated and her case is on hold for now, while she goes to the Department of Health and Welfare here in Idaho for some treatment. Now, we know Idaho does not have an insanity defense, but Idaho does have the option to be found incompetent to stand trial, which just means that this person is not able to understand the charges against them and to assist in their own defense.
Yeah.
We're very familiar with this. If you follow us with the Daybell Vallow case, we know we've been
Yeah.
here with Lori Vallow. She just went through her second round of assessments and was found that she is fit to stand trial.
Mm-hmm.
So we shall see what happens here. But for now, everything gets put on hold for her charges anyway,
Mm-hmm.
while she goes into the hospital. Now, I think the first commitment is 90 days.
90 days. Yep.
Yeah. So
And then
we'll
if that
see if
doesn't work, the second commitment is 180
180.
days.
Yeah. So we will see a reevaluation of her come up in about 90 days, and
Mm-hmm.
they'll determine if she can be released from the hospital, go back to jail, and then, be able to face trial or not. So,
Mm-hmm.
you've seen it all over in our YouTube comments. We've talked about it, that things don't seem quite right with Sarah.
No.
And this is certainly confirmation of that. So
Yeah.
we'll keep an eye on things. Still no report of having found Michael Vaughn's body.
No.
However, we
Yeah.
don't
And
know if they have or not. They're holding things very tight
they are,
at
but
this
they are
point.
still excavating. So,
They are.
but of course, the search will go on. Even though Sarah's portion of this case has stayed, the search will go on.
Right.
We still haven't seen any charges yet against her husband.
No.
And so, but they've got lots of time on that because he's incarcerated.
Hmm.
Now, she also was supposed to stand trial the first part of December on federal firearms charges. So,
Right.
curious to see. I'm assuming that all matters against Sarah will probably be paused for now. But that's a different ball of wax entirely than
It's federal, and so I don't
yeah,
know exactly what, but I would think that if
yeah.
she's found to be incompetent, I would imagine that the feds would not want to move forward either, because that just opens the door to all kinds of appeals and
Mhm.
constitutional rights violations and things in the future.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for now, I think what we're going to see is Sarah go off to a hospital, which is
Yeah.
clearly good for her.
Mhm.
She is not doing well.
No,
That's very
she seems
obvious.
very unwell. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So,
Interesting in the bail agreement or the bond agreement for her to get out of jail on
mhm,
the firearms charges because see that happened in May and her husband
right.
Stacy has been in jail since May in
Yes.
uh in actually in an Idaho jail but in federal custody. Just
Yeah,
that's where he was placed. But she got out nearly immediately.
she did.
And it was the it's hard to tell from the charging documents exactly or the bail documents exactly why she got out.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like she made bond. It seemed like more like an ROR, like own recognizance kind of thing.
Mhm.
Not entirely sure, but there was a long list of things she would have to do to maintain that status. One of
Right.
them was seek extensive mental health treatment and pay for it.
Mhm.
And so I would say that I suspect it's likely that when they arrested her back in May, she was quite unwell
I would
and that
imagine
they
so.
were not wanting to not hold her in jail, but want her to get some mental health treatment, which
Yeah.
I'm assuming she did not get. But
It sure doesn't appear that way. She's kind of gone
yeah,
more the way of getting hardcore Christianity,
yes,
based on her social media, as we've talked about. So
hmm
I think it's good. It's good for her. It's good for this case.
hmm
We want people to be well and, be able to
participate in their own
participate
defense. That's the
in the
law.
process. Yes,
Yeah,
that is. We don't want anybody who is unable to do that to be standing trial, because
no,
that's just not good for anybody. So
hmm
we will keep you posted as we see more things roll out, because
yeah,
there's lots still going on in the Michael Vaughn case.
hmm
And Katie, I'm going to kick the mic back to you for
okay.
our main case.
All right. So, as many of you know and have been following the Simon case here that's been playing out, the Quinton Simon
Mhm.
case. This is a 20-month-old darling little guy who's been missing since October 5th. Um, Stories immediately were conflicting from mom. First of all, her boyfriend said that he saw him at 6 a.m. before he left. Mom says she got out of bed at 9. Later, the story changed to 9:30, and that the door was open and he was gone. Later, Mom told the police that his bio dad snuck into their house in the middle of the night and took him. And the
Yeah.
police went straight to bio dad and interviewed him and deemed that to be absolutely untrue, that he
Hmm.
had not even spoken to her in several months
Yeah.
and had a good alibi. Immediately, the police called her their main suspect.
Right.
The public has been very, very frustrated that she hasn't been arrested. They had reason to believe, and this is still evidence that we don't know exactly what the evidence is, but they had reason
Right.
to believe that little Quinton had been placed in a dumpster and that dumpster had been hauled to a certain landfill.
Yeah.
And it's been more than a month now that they have been combing this landfill. They've gone through more than 1 million pounds of garbage
Oh.
looking. And on Friday, they finally found remains and
Mm.
sent those remains to Quantico to have them verified. What they know right now is that they are human remains. They are reasonably sure that they are Quinton's. And
Mhm.
based on that and some other evidence, according to the police, that was enough today to go ahead and arrest his mother, Leilani.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start us
Mm.
off here with the press conference, and then we'll go on from there. So I'm going to share a screen here so that we can do that. And this is just the first few minutes of the press conference, but
Sure.
I have so much respect for the police that have handled this, for the way they have teamed up with the FBI and that they worked beautifully with them, and for the way they were so unwilling to give up.
Oh my
Only
gosh.
5% of cases where there is a landfill search are turn up anything. 5%. And yet they have been searching for more than a month.
Can you imagine searching through 1 million pounds of landfill?
No,
Oh,
I
it's
cannot.
horrifying.
Yep. All right. Well, here we go.
Good evening, everybody. Jeff Hadley. I'm the Chief of Police for the Chatham County Police Department. I'm accompanied this evening by Will Clark with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This afternoon, Chatham County Police Department detectives arrested 22-year-old Leilani Simon and charged her with malice murder, concealing the death of another person, false reporting, and making false statements in connection with the disappearance and death of her son, 20-month-old Quinton Simon. Leilani Simon is being held at the Chatham County Detention Center and is awaiting a bond hearing. We do not anticipate any other arrests in this case. She has been the sole suspect from the beginning. On Friday, our search teams at the waste management landfill found what they believed were human remains. This afternoon, the FBI lab in Quantico, Virginia, confirmed that they are, in fact, human remains. Additional testing, including a DNA analysis, is being conducted, and we have every reason to believe that this will confirm the remains are Quinton's. This is a heartbreaking development for everyone who loved Quinton, for the many people who came to know him after his disappearance, and for our department. When we first received the call that Quinton was missing, we were hopeful that we would find him alive and unharmed. But as we have been telling you for weeks, all of our evidence pointed to his mother being responsible for his death and disappearance and his remains being found in the landfill. I would like to thank the many people and agencies who worked hard to ensure that Quinton was found, that he would have a proper resting place, and that justice would be served. First and foremost, I want to thank the FBI. We are incredibly grateful for their invaluable assistance. Their expertise, their manpower, resources, and guidance are unmatched and were crucial in our efforts to find Quinton. They were on the scene within 3 hours of Quinton being reported missing and have assisted with every aspect of this investigation. The resources they poured into the landfill search are extraordinary and are the reason that we were able to find Quinton. I can't thank them enough. Chatham County Police Department's Criminal Investigation Division also deserves special recognition. Their devotion to Quinton, to making sure this crime did not go unsolved, is an example of police work at its finest. Our detectives worked tirelessly and were determined to follow every lead and uncover every piece of evidence in this case. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation, Chatham County Sheriff's Office, and Department of Natural Resources all had officers searching the landfill alongside our officers and the FBI. The support of the Chatham County Emergency Management Agency, Chatham Emergency Services, Chatham Occupational Safety and Health, Savannah Police, and Savannah Fire also were invaluable in this massive effort. Finally, I would like to thank the many people who showed their support for our department during this incredibly difficult and important investigation. We appreciate those who kept faith in the system and waited patiently for evidence we needed to make sure Quinton has every opportunity to receive the justice he deserves.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, if some of the other police departments that we have been covering over the years
Yeah.
could use Chief Hadley as an example of the way things should be done, of humility, of not letting your pride and your ego get in the way of solving a case, we'd have a
Mhm.
whole lot more cases solved.
We sure would. And his willingness to work with all of these other departments,
Hmm.
not, yeah, like you
Absolutely.
said, humility and just not getting into pissing matches with other people and asking for help.
Yeah,
Gosh, this is an unbelievable undertaking to have found this little boy.
it absolutely is. And I just
Mm.
really honor that is why he was found. And the fact that he's willing to give credit where it's due and also let those resources in from the get go.
Yeah.
It seems like that's how things should be,
It
but
is.
it isn't.
No, no, this is not a common way to handle a missing persons case.
Unfortunately, it should be. But we find
Yeah.
a lot of counties, particularly that are very suspicious of the FBI. They don't want to cooperate with them. And the FBI won't get involved until they ask them to.
Right. Right.
And here they are. Anyway, so much appreciated. And I'm so glad for that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Miss Leilani in cuffs. Do you guys remember, some of you that have
Mm.
followed this case, remember that she made a statement in the news a couple of weeks ago
Ugh, I can never
that
forget it.
if the time comes that I am found to be responsible, I will turn myself into the police department myself. Well, Leilani,
Such
the
a
time
creepy thing to
came.
say.
And did you turn yourself into the police department yourself? No, bitch, you did not. But
No.
you got arrested nonetheless. Here's a little clip of her getting, or in cuffs, being led to the police department. You notice she's got a hoodie pulled down over her face. Honey,
Too late,
it
lady.
has
We all know
become
who
an
you are.
issue. One of the challenges, and I don't want to say it's a challenge in a negative way because I think that public involvement with these cases is what's helping get them solved because there's so much pressure on
Right.
departments. In this case, I mean, I think the department's been great, but we see it all over the country. We see it like with Oakley Carlson and so many other cases where it's taking the public getting damn mad and being very loud to get anything done. In this case, there have been protesters at her home all hours of the day and night. The police finally said, "You got to stop. We cannot, we're so busy trying to find Quinton, and we have been called out to her house more than 50 times
Mm.
because of her or her neighbors being harassed by people, and you can't do this." So they kind
Mm.
of, some of the protesters moved to the police department and they were like, "Yeah, you want to picket here? You want to protest here? Do it all day long. Just get out of that neighborhood."
Yeah.
Most people did, some didn't. Some arrests had to be made. I mean, it's been wild, but people were not going to sit down and shut up on this one. Not one bit.
Well, we all can think of how many cases that are unsolved. of missing children and missing adults and missing teenagers that
Mhm.
never get solved, that never get any attention at all. And I think
Mhm.
that if this happens in your community, you're
Mhm.
damn tired of that.
Yep.
I mean, our murder solve rate in the US is sitting at right about 50%, which is
Yeah.
pathetic. It is
Yeah.
at an all-time low. It is at a reporting the history of reporting
Mhm.
of resolving murders
Mhm.
low.
Yeah.
And I do think that here in the US, people have had enough.
Mhm. Yep. Yep. And these, you know, neighborhoods or communities of people that get very loud and wild about it and won't let it go away, that is needed and
It is.
necessary.
It
How
is.
many parents have we seen over the years pleading for someone to give a shit about their missing kid?
We have Dylan Rounds in
Yep.
southern Utah who's from our
Mhm.
area where we live.
Mhm.
Um, Still, what are we 3 months out now or more,
More. Yeah, more.
and
But yeah.
so
Mhm.
little, so little care, so much
Mhm.
bullshit that's gone on with the Box Elder
Yeah.
County there sheriffs,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you can see why people do this stuff. I would if it was
Absolutely.
my community because it is becoming harder and harder to trust that the
Mhm.
police will take something,
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
And obviously they have in this case, but you can see
Yes.
why people are worried that they need to
Certainly.
put a lot of pressure on law enforcement to actually do their job.
Yes. But Leilani has also pissed people off publicly.
Oh boy, hasn't she?
Um, there was one instance where she and her mother were seen at a bar doing shots while while all of this the searching is going on. There are hundreds of people in the landfill searching for her child, and she and her mom are at the bar throwing back shots.
Yeah. I mean, fine, if you feel like you need a drink because you're stressed out, do it in your house.
Right.
I mean, that's just gross. Her
Me
demeanor
out
all
partying.
along has not
Mhm.
been the demeanor of a grieving mother at all.
Mhm. Now, the charge malicious murder.
Yes, I was gonna
There's
ask you about that.
little different charges. Every state kind of has their little differences, and this is one of them in
Right.
Georgia. Murder and malicious murder are two different things. Murder could mean that it was an accident or that it was unplanned or something along those lines.
Mhm.
Malicious murder means that you did it on purpose.
So first-degree murder.
Malicious murder
What
is
most of
much
us
worse.
would know as first-degree murder.
Um, and
Wow.
the depending on the situation, malicious murder can result in a lifetime in prison with parole. Without parole, it can also result in the death penalty.
Well,
So it is it's a high crime.
mhm.
Yeah. Which tells you a lot
They
because
know so
again,
much more than we
they
know.
they know quite a lot more. Yeah. Now, we're recording this on Monday night. Tuesday, I believe she'll have a bond hearing. We may be able to see the probable cause affidavit then. We have not seen it yet. So
Yeah.
there's definitely some details forthcoming that we'll be sharing on Wednesday night case updates about this case because there's just not everything is not known yet. Everything still won't be known because they've got to protect their case because this will be going to trial most likely.
Right.
And
Well,
we
and
want that
probable
to
cause
happen.
affidavits lately are just always sealed. And I think it
Mhm.
is because of people like us, unfortunately,
Mhm.
that they
Yep.
are. And I don't want ever to
Yeah.
do anything that would jeopardize a trial
Yeah.
in any
No.
way. But it is
No.
frustrating because clearly, if
Mhm.
they can call this malicious murder, they know
They know. Well,
something.
like they said, we've been telling you all along she was our main suspect.
Yeah.
And also, we don't think that anyone else was involved.
Mhm.
Yeah, that says it all.
Yeah. Sure does.
So, for, we hope that poor little Quentin, I don't know, rests in peace, I guess. It's
Yeah.
just, it's so horrifying. I'm going to lead us out from this segment with a video that I took off of her Facebook page. Where did it all go wrong?
Right.
And for those listening and not watching, it's a scrolling video of lots of pictures of baby Quentin
Yeah.
getting bigger and bigger and bigger. This video was made a year or so ago, but I don't think it's all of Quinton. I believe it's also of one of her other children. She
Mm,
actually has 2 other children that, have been taken into CPS custody.
thank God. Wow.
There was an article on the Daily Mail where they did speak to the bio dad, who, by the way, they call him Bubba. Uh, the bio dad has been through absolute hell this last month. His mother died from kidney failure.
Oh,
His father was struck by a vehicle and killed,
my God.
and baby Quinton.
Wow. That's terrible.
Yeah, yeah. It's unbelievable what he has been through. So he lives about 85 miles away from them.
Mm,
His name is Bubba Moss. I don't think that's exactly his name, but that's what they call him.
mm,
He says that he said about Leilani, he said, I told police she's going to hurt that baby. I said I didn't know what was going on. Hell, I haven't heard from her to 6 to 7 months. She's a terrible person and she's going to jail or hell. She's evil. She shouldn't be in society.
mm.
If she didn't want him, she could have told me. I would have come and got him. So I'm not sure exactly what the circumstances are between the two of them, but I would say they're probably not great. But yeah.
Yeah. Very concerning, though, that he knew that.
Mhm.
What has he
Right.
done? And I know he's been through a lot. I don't mean to put him on blast, but I mean, if he knew that, why wasn't he trying to get that baby from her?
I don't know that he hadn't been.
And maybe he had, or just didn't have the means to. I mean, I realize that
There
that's a
was some
hardship.
talk that she was actually losing custody of him, of her
Mm,
children, and that
mm-hmm.
she was going to have to start paying some child support
Oh,
on them.
oh,
In fact, I'm quite sure that Quinton was actually in the custody of her mother, who happened to not be in town when this all happened. But she was told she was going to have to start paying $150 a month in child support, and she was soups uncool with that.
God,
Was this all about $150?
was it? And it sounds like it could be. That's
Hmm.
horrific.
Yeah. So that's where things sit. But of course, we'll keep you posted. And Kristi, I'm going to turn the mic back over to you for another true crime update.
Yes. So we all know about the problems with child sexual abuse in the Catholic Church.
Hmm.
It's been a big thing in the last while, but I wanted to share the Attorney General in Maryland, his name is Brian Frosch, has been pushing for a release of his office's entire investigation into the physical and sexual abuse in the Archdiocese of Baltimore.
Wow.
They investigated more than 80 years
Oh.
of reports, and what they found is that in that archdiocese, not
Mhm.
one parish did not have was safe was safe from sexual abuse of children.
My God.
Every single parish.
Hmm.
This is a 465-page document. Clearly, I don't want to read it. Nobody wants to read it.
No.
But it's really important to understand how very broad this is, and has it genuinely actually stopped? Because I think that's unlikely. The way that things have been handled up to this point, not nearly enough people have been prosecuted, and
Hmm.
many have, but it's still not enough.
Hmm.
And I think that there's been a statement going around lately, and Katie, I know that you used it recently and got in some trouble on Facebook, but the
I
idea
did.
that
Yeah.
you are much more likely to be sexually assaulted at church than you are at a drag show or a pride parade or a reading time with the queens or any other LGBT event.
Hmm.
And studies like this just continue to show us that. And yet, the backlash that's being hit in the LGBT community and the the word of the used groomers and all of these things
Mhm.
is simply subterfuge, you guys.
Mhm.
It's being used to demonize the LGBTQIA community, and it is also being used as a way to distract from the reality of how prevalent this has been. And this is just the
Mhm.
Catholic Church, you guys.
Yep.
Because it's not like it's the only one. Trust me, we could tell you some stories about Mormonism that you would just curl your hair. And we have pulled
Mhm.
some.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of looking into Baptist churches in the southern states as well.
Mhm.
I mean, literally, Christian churches have become, and not even become, have been for a
Right.
long time, bastions of
Mhm.
transsexual abuse. You got to wise up. You got
Yep.
to wake up to what is actually real, what there's actual data to back up.
Mhm.
And this is it.
Absolutely.
So that's a New York Times article. It will be linked in the show notes so that you can go
Mhm.
and read it. It's just absolutely horrifying. And the report was initially like an internal review,
Yeah.
and he wants the entire 465-page report to be published
Mhm.
because he is sick
Mhm.
to think that people don't know
Yep.
or don't believe it. More likely don't believe it than don't know.
Right.
But the
Well, if nothing else, parents need to recognize and understand
right,
just because this person claims to be a man or a woman of God doesn't mean that they are. It doesn't mean that your kids are safe with them at
no,
all.
not in the least.
Yep.
Not in the least. So that's what I have.
Okay. Well, this has been Tuesday. We will be back Wednesday with a brand new episode. We'll be back Wednesday night with Wednesday night case updates. And then we'll be off the rest of the week to do Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving week here in the US. So that's what we have still coming up this week. Uh, take good care of yourself, my friends. It's been a hard crime time the last week or
Mhm.
so, especially. Things have just been, for true crimers, man, it's been ugly and stressful, especially in Idaho. It's been so hard with
It
all
really
that we
has
have
been
going
rough.
on.
Yeah,
Yes. And take breaks, do happy things, do good things, be good to each other. It's important. Mental health care is important. If it's beginning to be too much for you, take a break for a minute. That's okay too. We all have to take good care of ourselves before we can ever take good care of other people, right? So
true. Absolutely.
you deserve
Feel free
good
to take
things
a break.
too. Yeah, for sure. Or don't, and just send a lot of good vibes the ways of the victims and the families. You do it your way. But
For
please
sure.
take care of yourselves as well.
Yes.
Alrighty, well, this has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad. Take care.
Bye, everybody.